All right. Can everybody see me and hear me? How are we doing? So I know it's late, and I know Brandon is already doing his stream, so I'm not expecting massive attendance, but I feel obligated to do something because it wasn't even a primetime game. I just wasn't able to get the post-game video up until later than usual, so got to do something. So I'm going to ask, is everyone feeling good today? And if you're not, I don't know what the heck it is that you're looking for to make you happy in life. It has to be the best win of the year so far. What else is even in contention? You think Brandon's is running down? Okay. Are you going on Twitch tonight? Probably. Yes. I'm not 100% sure. I do have some things I got to do for tomorrow. But if I am streaming on Twitch tonight, it'll be Metaphor. And it'll probably just be a couple hours. How about Olu Olu? I thought Oluwatimi was competitive. Not good, but competitive. I already went through top villains, high clip, and the JSN highlights on the official page. JSN's doing something different. Ever since I tweeted that about him, he's just locked in, man. Ever since I tweeted about him, he's just been absolutely like locked in. I thought Tyrese Knight was really good. I think that there is a difference that you can see with him on the field versus Dodson or Baker or whatever. And I'm surprised, but I mean, at this point, you got no choice but to play him. You think Lucas is back fully next week? You would hope so. But how many snaps do you guys think Gerald played today? It felt like he played almost half the snaps, so it probably doesn't all go away in 1 week. Yeah, Okada shouldn't even be on an active roster, so it's whatever with him. Draymond Jones changed the momentum. He's finally playing close to value. I don't know about that, but there are some things that he can do for us while he's here. Every time I looked for who was giving up pressures, it was Bradford or Gerald. Otherwise, the rest of the line was playable. What do you think? Well, the first sack was on Lucas and Charbonnet, right? And the second sack was on either Cross or Tomlinson. So I don't know if I can agree with that. I thought there was a lot of pressure being given up from others. And then there was like almost no pressure after Bosa got hurt. Maybe Jones calls a better D game than Dodson or Baker did. Believable. I just think he has better instincts more than anything. I think he's just got this understanding of where to be and where the ball's going better than those guys. I thought Knight played quite well. What does Ernest Jones' extension look like? That's what I've been thinking about. It's got to be at least at this point. You got to be thinking it's at least 13 million a year, but the cliff comes so quickly. By the way, this Sunday night game, which was pretty uninteresting for most of it, has gotten pretty interesting. Yeah, Myers had a great game too. And we needed every bit of it. Well, maybe he could have missed the extra point, I guess. That would have been okay. We could have afforded that. Yeah. I want to re-sign Jones. I'm hoping it's not monster money, but inside linebacker contracts are hard to figure. Yeah, Patrick Queen deal could be a comp, maybe a little bit more because it's a year later. Any injuries on players on our side? Yeah, Chenault and D. Williams. Also, did Abe Lucas look good today? I didn't watch the entire game. I thought he looked about as good as you could hope. And he left the game not on an aircast and trolley, so that was the main goal today, to be perfectly honest. So I'm sure there's some stuff he gave up, but he did what he needed to do. You think an earnest extension could be top priority? Yeah, he's a free agent this offseason. Remember, he doesn't have a year left on his deal. Okay. 12 minutes left in this Sunday night game, by the way, and it's gotten pretty good. So that's cool. Hold on one second. You think McIntosh returns punts and kicks next week? I think he has to. It's either him or Lockett, right? I don't think there's anybody else you could even consider using except for like JSN. Ernest Jones is only 24, that he could potentially be a franchise linebacker. Rams should never have cut the man. Yeah, they just didn't want to pay him because I think they know that they're in for some hard times and they don't want to have a ton of money on the books for an inside linebacker. Cross looked really bad on that one play though, where Gino got sacked. Cross was like on his butt. That was bad. That did not help make him money. Hey Michael, has JSN locked wide receiver too? Oh, I think he has for a while now. Lockett, he's going to be good every other game or something, you know? He's going to have a good game every other game, but he just doesn't consistently get open enough and present a real threat to the defense often enough to make it profitable to throw the ball his way a lot. Do you think there's a chance Jones' deal gets done this year? The Seahawks almost never do that. I will say that. They don't like to negotiate deals in the middle of the season. I'm kind of worried about the Cards still next week. As good as the defense has been so far, it's going to be a test to keep Murray in check. Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, we should not be taking this Cardinals team for granted. Like they're on a winning streak right now. They're playing good football. Are you still going live on Twitch tonight? I might. I'm not sure yet. I will determine that after I'm done. All right, guys, we got over 100 people in the stream now. I think if you count X, there might be even a few more than that. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming out to the stream tonight. Thank you to everybody who is hanging out with me tonight. We're going to go for maybe about an hour, maybe a little bit more, just talking about this Seahawks-Niners game. If you are new to the channel, please click the subscriber button. We're trying to get to 19,000 by the end of the month. We need about 191 more, and we've got about 2 weeks to do it. Click the like button if you haven't already. Click the like button on this stream. You can also do other things like donate via super chat or tipping, or become a channel member for $2 a month, or Patreon. I have a link to the Patreon in the description. Those are the best ways to support. Okay, so let's take a look here. Screen game looking better. Well, we're kind of doing that. It's almost like a flood route effect. We did that a few times today. It's a play you see all the time in college, right? Where it's almost like a quick little flood route. And we hit some nice plays off that one. Herbert has aeons of time in a clean pocket. It makes me jealous. There were a couple plays where we had that today after Bosa left. After Bosa left the game, it was like it was a completely different situation. Yeah, McDonald had a post-game press conference. I didn't see it because I was driving home. Mm. Witherspoon looked really good today too, by the way. JSN should break 1,000 this season if these past few. Well, he should break 1,000 regardless with how much he gets thrown the ball. Like, I think that was the case even before these 2 days. Thoughts on Olu today? He was competitive. I'm not convinced he was good because we still can't run the ball up the middle. But he was competitive. Yeah, tunnel screens. That's what it's called. The tunnel screens. Yeah, Corey. It kind of looks like a flood route, but it's not really one. Thoughts on how Abe Lucas played? he he was, I think he was fine. I'm just happy he made it through the game healthy. That's really all I can say. I don't think he played great, but you couldn't expect him to, right? Brandon was ripping Reek a new one. I didn't see. Was it just the one play where he got outmuscled by Jaquan Johnson? It was that the play that made him react like that? How do you think Knight played? Knight played really good, I think. I actually am pretty high on Knight at this moment. Because San Fran didn't kill us with their run. And I was worried about Knight against the Niners misdirection stuff. And he held up great. Only had one bad snap? Yeah, well, it needs to be 0 bad snaps. That's something that needs to not happen ever, effectively. The fact that we're sitting here saying we only had one bad snap is a big problem. Mm. MM did a great job protecting the linebackers from getting into single coverage on CMC. Yeah. The only guy who killed us was Jawan. Like, Debo did nothing. Pearsall did nothing. Yeah, something like that, Michael. Exactly. That's what I want to see, too. Charb is unplayable. Guys, it's really not fair on any running back right now behind this offensive line, but it's super unfair for somebody like Charb. Charbonnet needs competent run blocking to do much of anything, so I'm not on that wagon. It is a detriment to him right now that he cannot play without good run blocking, but that is the reality of the situation. Yeah, Sharps has made a mistake in pass protection today that he usually doesn't make. I did notice that. He just looked kind of lost on the first sack. Chard, Bradford, Cross, Gerald, Lucas all gave up sack. Well, we only gave up 4 sacks, so I don't see how we could have. I don't see how we could have given up 5. Maybe you're saying one of them was Lucas and Charb in tandem. Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah, Spoon was great today. And I think the most important thing, like I said in my post-game video, I don't know, maybe not everybody saw it. Most important thing is it really looks like Mike is that guy. That's what we needed. Do you think we should fire Huff because this O-line could be his fault? I think Huff and Grubb are attached to each other. So if you fire one, you fire the other. But you don't fire just one. You either fire both or none. And Joe Burrow interception. Hopefully that was a free play. Yeah, it was definitely a mistake to take it was definitely a mistake to take Charbonnet in the second round, but he's still a good player that can help us. And we need to fix the team so that he can do that. I don't know about everyone else, but I thought Cross played awful today. He had that one really awful play. I don't know about the rest of the game. Who could you send over the top on very short yardage gains? Just quarterback sneak it. Just do the QB sneak over and over and over and over. Do you think DK's foot was actually down on the challenge? I thought it was down, but they only showed a couple of good angles. I did think JSN was out of bounds though. I was surprised they didn't overturn the JSN catch along the sideline. I don't think JMS has been any good this year either though, John D. Has JMS been good in New York? Maybe he has been, but I was aware of him really not having a fun transition to the NFL. No, Joe. The townspeople will hit you for sure. Oh, there was a running back right there. Okay. When the pylon cam DK was in, I thought it looked like he was in. Grubb's run attack is as predictable as the rain in Washington State. Well, the thing is, he has some good stuff. Like today, we had a jet sweep. He's capable of good things, but when we get into short yardage, it's like he has one play. And I'm sure the mentality is like he's just trying to quickly sneak it over the line and get it over with and just hope it works. Like you're not trying to do anything too fancy when you don't trust your line, but sorry, I mean if you're going to do that, QB sneak it every time. Just do a QB sneak every time. JMS has been average with the Giants. Yeah, see? Maybe there was a better pick to make there, but I actually don't think it was JMS. I just don't think he's that good at this point. He was supposed to be kind of ready to go out of the box. I think that guy for the Jets had got a center that year, right? Titman. I think he's been better. I think he's been a lot better. How have you felt about the roughing on Seattle games so far this season? About as bad as you see in any other game. Yeah, this is a big game now. Seahawks fans should be willing to go to a game like this. This game means a lot. Uh, Pretentious Cameron, I think I just got a member message from you, but I gotta jump over here so I can see it. I just remembered. Okay, yes, thank you. Pretentious Cameron, thank you for the member message for 35 months. What does an Ernest Jones contract look like? Probably somewhere around the, I'd say 4 years for like 56, or the Patrick Queen, which was like the 3 years 41, something around there. You think it could be likely if Matthew Stafford retires, Geno Smith could go to the Rams? I mean, that's probably one of the plays they would make. But he is under contract next year, so I've said before, I'll say it again. I really think the most likely outcome here is that he does get extended. And obviously, we wouldn't trade him within the division. That's just disrespectful. Do you expect Uchenna to come back next week? Whoa, did he make that? No, wow. Based on the way the coaches were talking, it sounded like Uchenna was not especially close yet. So no, not really. You think we bring in a center the next couple of weeks? Well, we'll bring in somebody, but Olu's going to remain the starter until Olu becomes completely unplayable. I think that our center is going to be Oluwatimi. It's just we need another center for depth. You think the Jets will just not try in 2 weeks? They do seem like they've kind of quit on the season, which is always nice as an opponent. I thought Olu played well. I thought he was fine. I thought he was functional. Never thought I would say this, but they do miss Stone. Gerald isn't ready. Yeah, it's not any better at all. The only difference is Gerald actually commits more penalties, probably, because he's always grabbing because he doesn't trust himself. Maybe Christian Haynes ends up playing center because he did do some of that at the Senior Bowl, but maybe that's not something they're thinking about right now, so they maybe need to sign another center. So, what do you guys think of the pass rush today? Because to me, the pass rush was not as frequent as the first time we played the Niners, but it was actually much more effective because our pressures actually felt like they led to positive plays. Who do you think is the best guard in this draft? Probably some tackle convert who we don't even know is going to play guard or not. But I do think Gerald has a bright future. Yeah, I'll ride with him. I'll ride with him for sure. We just got to be willing to let it play out. Yeah, I was thinking about that today. Like, I'm not a big Fant fan, but Barner just isn't ready. So we need Fant back because at least he's ready to go. Yeah, Tyler Booker, Michael. Tyler Booker is the guard that you're thinking about. That might be a first rounder. And it would not shock me if that was the target. What's our biggest drawback this week, you think? What do you mean by that, Havoc? Drawback in what way? Yeah, Murphy made a couple nice plays. Nothing super stand out. I really think those inside linebackers were the most notable things. And Spoon, I guess. Oh, yeah, Purdy's definitely better than Jimmy G ever was. But at the same time, I think that we need to look at the example of Jimmy G to know how easy it is to put up good performances in this Niners offense at quarterback. Barner had a good block on K9's touchdown. Yeah, but there were a couple plays where I thought he kind of blew it, including maybe the failed fourth down in inches, where, by the way, was it just me or did Geno Smith clearly get the first down on the quarterback sneak and it shouldn't have been fourth and inches? John D., there's no center in this draft worthy of a first round pick. Very rare is a center ever worth a first round pick. Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like I want to look at the split of plays where the Seahawks had three down linemen and see who was lining up at nose. Because I don't know how much it's Murphy there, and then they have like the A gap stuff when they have two down linemen, and that's the nose. Well, there are good centers in this draft, John, but only generational centers are worth first round picks. Parker Brailsford has had a not great year, honestly, I feel like. He's got a snapping problem or something. I always felt like if you give the exact weapons you give to Purdy to Jimmy G, there wouldn't be much of a drop off in play. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You look at when Jimmy G was there, numbers wise, he was always playing at a really high level. So there's only so much better you can get from that. Oh, and on the tunnel screen that we threw to JSN, did you guys notice Laken Tomlinson like 15 yards downfield trying to block? He actually got down there. I was impressed. Well, Jimmy G was really good at getting the ball out quickly. He was really good at not holding onto the ball. That was his legitimate NFL worthy skill. But he had a mediocre arm, mediocre at best accuracy, limited mobility, terrible decision making. All right, El Burro. You think there is potential to develop Olu? Not anymore. Last year, yeah, but I've seen way too many signs that they think he sucks. Like there was a point in time this season where he was the third string center. They had Sundle over him. Remember, they were so unhappy with what they saw from Olu. That's why they signed Connor in the first place. Aren't the O line always illegally downfield on all those tunnel screens? I guess they don't leave until the ball's out. Probably some very tight rule with that, with regards to that. But I will say this: there is a very small but existent slice of players in NFL history that are bad in practice and for some reason are good when the game starts. Jeff Garcia being the best example I can think of. I feel like the Seahawks have to win the next three to make the playoffs. I don't think we can lose another game in the division. I think you got to split with the Rams and sweep the Cardinals. I'm happy they won today, but I won't get fully excited and back on board unless they win next week. Well, at least you're hooked to see if they win next week, right? Like, at least you're on the hook for that much. That means something. You think they told Connor that they would bench him so he retired? Same with Dodson, except he asked to be waived. I think Dodson wanted to be let go if he wasn't going to be allowed to play. Connor, no. They're indicating it's something to do with his family. Be back watching the end of this game. Okay, Jason. Me too. We got drama. Unfortunately, the Cardinals have just won too many games. I was really hoping they'd drop. They're just a little too good. Two young guys at right guard and right tackle is making our situation worse. We need a vet, Lucas or Fant at right tackle to help cover for Bradford. Yeah, I mean, I've always said I'm a big Bradford fan. I still am. But while he's developing, in the meantime, he needs to not let his quarterback get killed. I'm not willing to sacrifice Geno Smith's life so Anthony Bradford can get some development in. Which O-line player do you think fits this team well for the draft? It's probably still Emory Jones. No, let me take that back. No, because I think Emory Jones could move to guard. But if you want to be a little more realistic, I'd go with somebody like a Johnny Cornelius, the Oregon right tackle, who you can probably slide inside. And he's playing for Oregon, so he knows how to do all that move crap. Mm-mm-mm. Bradford is our worst lineman. Yeah, yeah. I will say that I think we should all be at least open to the possibility of the other shoe dropping on Oluwatimi in a few weeks here. Two-minute warning in the game, by the way, guys. So if you haven't tuned in, now would be the time. Britt would be a great teacher at the center position. I don't know. The complaint people had about Britt near the end that I remember was he didn't seem to have a good understanding of the cerebral side of the position. He was more just physical. And then guys like Ethan Posick get in there, and you can kind of see there does seem like there's a difference. Sam Howell is trending right now for the amount of people that said bench Geno. See, that's why I've really started to not like this fan base. Like, this guy just led a game-winning drive against the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara. And people are talking about Sam Howell. Like, we don't know exactly what Sam Howell's going to do. if you put him behind that really crummy offensive line, because we saw it last year. Yeah, Haynes wasn't inactive today. He probably had a little bit of a better week at practice. Purdy to me is Dak Prescott 2.0, needs good talent to work with. Yeah, and that's an incredible thing to find, right? That's an incredible thing to find with the last pick in the draft, because Dak's Dak's had a really good NFL career, man. Like, if you can be a Dak Prescott, you're doing very well. Are we getting a rooting guide this week? Yeah, I guess I'm bringing it back. Oh my goodness, he missed it again. Well, I don't know about fake fan base, Dano, but I think this Seahawks fan base just they're anarchists. That's the best way I can put it. They're anarchists. They want to burn everything down all the time. I think there are a lot of Seahawks fans who think the Seahawks should just go 17-0 or go 0-17. And like, if you're not going to win every game, then just lose every game. And so if they don't love everything about the tower, they just want to burn it down. And it's really exhausting trying to explain to people why, no, you can't just tank every 5 years to get the number one pick and then win the next 5 Super Bowls. Like, it's very exhausting. Dak had the best O line for 4 years and the best running back for 5 did nothing. Well, he was a different player then. The Dak Prescott of the last really 4 years is very little in common with the Dak Prescott pre-COVID. Do you believe Trey Lance is any good? It's hard to believe that anymore. I believed in him a lot longer than most people, but at this point, it is what it is. Wow. This game's going to go to overtime because neither of these teams can get out of their way. All fan bases are the same. I listen to NY Sports Radio every day, and Jets and Giants fans sing the same tune. Yeah, I can see that. And I think Cowboys fans do the same thing. But what I'm saying is, we as a fan base should try to be better than that, right? You think Russell Wilson is going to revive his career in Pittsburgh? I mean, he's going to be a relevant player in the NFL for another year, probably. But it's not a revival. The Russell Wilson we've seen so far this year has nothing, absolutely nothing on the Russell Wilson from, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So it's not a revival. We do the same thing with the Colts here in Indy. Really? El Nino. Because you would expect people who root for the Colts would be more mellow. You would think that Colts fans would just be like, well, it's cool to have a football team. You think we let Boye Mafe or Derek Hall walk? No, I don't think so. Pass rushers are valuable. You think Gino would be having an MVP type of season if he was on the Lions? Yeah, I do. You guys know he actually has a below average percentage of turnover worthy plays this year compared to the average quarterbacks in the league. And yet he's among the league leaders in interceptions because he is the unluckiest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Although, honestly, the Colts probably should fire their owner. That's probably been true for a while. So if they're saying that, I'm with that. But you can't fire your owner, can you? Sorry I'm late. I was working. I watched a few plays, but I think the Lucas effect on the right side was notorious. What do you think? Good night. Um, I do think it felt different when he was in there. That's not to say I think he played a great game, but I think he played about as good as you could ever expect him to. So I'm happy with that. And hopefully we get the word tomorrow that he came out of that game fine and everything's good to go for next week. Because that's always a possibility, right? Just because they didn't get hurt during the game doesn't mean they didn't get hurt after. They didn't realize they were hurt after the game. You think JSN is finally meshing into that wide receiver one spot and we might potentially let DK walk next year? No, definitely not. If you have JSN as your number one receiver, that I don't think that's good. I think that you still need somebody to run off the defense. I don't think you can, unless your quarterback is like Tom Brady or Drew Brees, I don't think your number one receiver can just be a possession guy. And we don't have Tom Brady, we don't have Drew Brees. We have a quarterback who is very good, but I don't believe that he'll be able to play as pitch perfectly as you need to when a guy like JSN's your number one receiver. You follow Grant Cohn. I like his content and he wants Shanahan fired. I know of Grant Cohn. He well, the only argument that I think you can really make in this regard is he had to win the Super Bowl or else get fired because of the investment they made, which is somewhat defensible, I guess, but why would you ever want to deprive yourself of an elite coach when you have an option choice about it? You should collab with Norbcam. I was hanging out with Norbcam today at the sports bar, actually. But our styles don't really mesh, so I can't really do a collab. I don't think JSN should ever be a number one receiver. I think you should always be trying to pair him with a player like Metcalf who can complement him and play off of his weaknesses a little in a positive way. Wow. This game's really going to go to overtime. Ooh, maybe not. Yeah, I mean, JSN will be a better receiver in a couple years than he is right now, but he's never going to be like fast, right? He's never going to be a downfield threat. Draft Tez Johnson for a slot receiver. I do like Tez Johnson, but I don't know if we need a tiny receiver to replace Lockett. I love your collaborations with the Hawks Nest. I love doing them. Thank you, Seth. Hypothetically, if Lucas stays healthy for the rest of the year, do you still draft a tackle in a high round? Not if he stays healthy and plays well. Not if he stays healthy and plays well. He said it's not chronic, so we could ride with it for a little bit, and I think it would be okay. Yeah, Lockett, I think, will retire this offseason. He just has too many days like today where he can't really do much of anything. And, I expected it going into the season, but it doesn't need to get worse. We don't need to see it at a lesser level than this. Why do you think JSN performed so well against the Rams without Metcalf? Mostly because of Yak, which is not a huge part of his game typically. But I'm not trying to make it harder for myself. You know? Why would I make it hard for myself by having JSN be my number one when he doesn't really have speed? When I can make it easy for myself by giving me JSN and another top receiver. Well, Charbonnet isn't great, but I really don't think that it's warranted to hang him out to dry right now. He's got no chance with this run blocking. I'm not a huge Charbonnet fan at this point. I'm a little cooled off on him, but at the same time, I have to say he's got no chance with this run blocking. Yeah, and to be clear, there's no universe where Lockett's back next year on a $31 million cap hit. So if he doesn't retire, we're probably just going to release him. So thoughts on the run defense today? The adjustments they made have really worked, and having better linebacker play, you can see the difference. It still matters in this league, even if the league is making it matter less and less. Oh boy, Chargers. You got to let them score at this point, dummy. Yeah, actually, I mean, it's unlikely to matter, but Dobbins shouldn't have scored the touchdown there. Can you talk about the significance of today's victory? Oh, it saved the season, Herman. If we don't win this game, we're making January plans for off-season stuff. Do you think we should play White more? Oh, Cody White? I mean, no, not really. Lockett is still good at stuff. And while he's here, I want to get as much as I can out of him. I don't want to relegate Lockett to like 15 snaps a game. Yeah, Tyrese Knight being legitimate is a very big deal, and that's a pick that very few people liked, right? That's a pick that people didn't really embrace. And that's a pick that even I was kind of like, we'll see. We'll see. I wasn't that impressed with what we saw. But, I got to tell you, so far, so good. Romaldo, it's a little early to speculate on that kind of stuff. I can't really speak to that. Should we put Lockett back to kick punt return duties to bench D. Williams? We might have to because D. Williams got hurt today. I feel like we'd go to JSN or McIntosh, but it all depends on who catches the ball better in practice. Thought process, Brendan. I saw your video talking about Olu and how you were a bit skeptical. How do you feel about him right now after this game? I mean, he played okay. I don't really feel that differently. He's going to have to do it over and over and over again for the rest of the season because there should be no more like preparing him. There should be no more like training him or anything like that. It should just be ready to go. He's already what, 25 or 26 years old. Well, Lockett doesn't need to do any returning. He just needs to fair catch it and catch the ball. Is there a downside money-wise to release Lockett next year and then re-sign him to a team-friendly contract? Well, yeah. You can totally do that. But, you know, you have to ask yourself, does Lockett want to do that? If he's cut, would he be pissed and not want to immediately re-sign with that team? Would another team outbid you? Like, I don't think it's very likely that you cut him and then re-sign him. Come on, Joe Burrow. You can do it. Wow. I mean, catch wouldn't have won the game, but that was still a nice throw. Do you buy the rumors that Seahawks really wanted Debo and Metcalf in 2019? Yeah, I can buy that, but it also doesn't really matter that much, right? Like, they didn't get him. And it feels like this stuff gets released to make John Schneider look good in situations where he's not looking so good. Maybe he's feeling the heat and he's like, I need to drop another one of those. I almost did this really smart thing, but then I didn't. Stories. Come on, Burrow. You can do it. Maybe they bring back Aesop Winston. That could work. I can't remember if he was returning kicks or not, though, but at the end of the day, they just got to do it a bunch at practice and figure out who does it really well. Hmm. Yeah, I just don't think Lockett's coming back next year. He's got enough stuff going on. I think we always kind of knew he wasn't going to play that long. Hail Mary. Oh my God, he almost caught it, but that will be ball game. That was actually a pretty good game. When I set the stream up like an hour and a half ago, it looked like the game was not even going to be competitive. Carson Schroer, thank you for the member message. Member for 41 months. Go to hell, Kyle Shanahan. Shout out to Mafe and Spoon, and great to see Big Abe back out there. Kyle Shanahan, what has Kyle Shanahan ever done to us, really? He's beaten us a few times. We've beaten him a few times, too. Has he won a Super Bowl? No. Yeah, Taylor's got to be gone after this year. Comes back for another year on a cheap deal. Why would he do that, though? Like, the only reason why you would do that, I think, is because there's nothing else in your life but football and you don't know what else to do. But that's not the case with Lockett, right? How did Olu look at C? I thought he looked okay. Yeah, Jags could fire their coach. I don't know, guys. I'm just I don't want to force myself into thinking that Oluwatimi's the guy and then get to the next season and find out that I really shouldn't have talked myself into it, because we've done that before. Like, if I don't see something extremely strong from him, I want to reject it. By the way, guys, we're one like shy of 50 likes. Please like the stream if you haven't already. Are you streaming any games this year? I'm going to stream a couple, yeah. I just haven't found a good one to do it with yet. Maybe I'll do it next week. Next week might be a good week. The Cardinals game. I might go for that. We'll see. Derek Hall haven't been making any noise lately. He had a sack today. I know it was kind of a crap sack, but he still got it. It was a nonsense sack, but it goes down in the scorebook. I would stream the Jets game. That's probably a good call, Ben, especially because the Jets didn't Derek Hall get an interception at the end? No, that's not an interception. That's a fumble recovery. I don't know how I could pick anything other than, well, you know what? The Chiefs' voodoo magic ran out. It's going to be Lions Bills. To hell with it. The Chiefs' voodoo magic ran out. I'm not picking them. We're getting Lions Bills. Hankins got the pick, yeah, but he didn't do the heavy lifting there. That was Witherspoon. All right, guys. The Sunday night game has wrapped up, and we've gone for about an hour. So I am going to go ahead and start wrapping it up. But hey, today's good. Today is good. We won a game. Season's alive. I'm happy. We beat the Niners. Life's good. Period. All right. So I will probably be on Twitch later tonight. I'm not sure. I do have some things I have to do today. But I will probably be live on Twitch later. Thanks for coming out.